Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the League of Europe for this 14th round of the championship, coming to you from the wonderful, the beautiful Netherlands here for the Zenith Grand Prix. Only three more to go after we get into this one, and our championship leader is not here, so a chance for second in the championship, Jordan, to pull back quite a few points, of course, being over 40 points behind the championship leader. Not exactly ideal. He's going to be looking for a good weekend here for the 14th round of the championship. But in the commentary box, once again, this week is, of course, myself, QVR Packer, and alongside me is, once again, going to be QVR Verstappen. How's it going here?
Hello everyone, indeed. Welcome to Division 4 League of Europe here, round 14. Already at the beach of Zandvoort, where moment the track could be flooded, and not only due to the rain. So, uh, getting into it, indeed, Potipus is not here tonight. Jordan is going to have a big chance to crawl back some points, only with 3 rounds to go, with a sprint round in Brazil at the end. This is his perfect opportunity to get back into the fight. We'll see how he's going to be able, or if he's going to be able to do
Ooh,
that. And I kind of jinxed it here, as we're looking at a full wet quali here, at least to start off with.
yeah, yeah, okay. Full wet qualifying around Zandvoort. Not exactly what these drivers would have been hoping for, I don't think. But 18 drivers here tonight for this 14th round of the championship. So we're looking to get a decent amount of entertainment, I would hope. I'm sure drivers are just throwing on that wet setup, or probably even the dry setup, depending on what the conditions look like for the 50% race that we will get into in roughly 20 minutes. As it looks like there's an Aston Martin going out first. I'd imagine that is Jamie Met. And yes, indeed it is, as he's just exiting the pit lane now. So we'll just ride on board with the Aston Martin driver. Of course, Jamie Met having a solid season, I'd say. P7 in the championship, 84 points to his name. One podium, second place in that chaotic Singapore Grand Prix. But I'd say he's had a decent overall season.
Yeah, he's been very consistent, just racking up his points all across the season. He must have scored in the majority, if not every race so far. So very well done for him at least. And I think he's got a good chance of racking up a few more tonight. We'll have to see how he's going to be feeling around Zandvoort. It's definitely not one of the quickest drivers on raw speed, but yeah, always keeps it out of the wall usually. And yeah, maybe he can do that once again tonight. So just looking around in the standings as well. A couple of the drivers been very good and consistent lately, like Jess as well on 52 points and 11th. Swip as well, almost scoring in every single race apart from the first few. So yeah, this is always conditions where the consistent drivers will come out on top. So potentially you could expect them near the top as well. As J-Met is just about to start a lap, and he's coming around the banking of turn 14. Just gonna get the names up if I can, because obviously with the Dutchess he has a big snap. Uh, yeah, coming down towards turn 1 here, the Tarzan bocht, as we like to call it in Dutch, and holding second gear, slowly getting on the throttle here as we go through to the Gerlach bocht, and then into the Heuvenholz. We see the drivers in real life usually taking a very high line through here. On the game, it's not that good to go through there, but it looked like Jamie got through it just fine as he makes his way through 4 and 5 to Hunsrug, and then into the Slotenmakerbocht as we go through Sector 1 now to Sector 2 at Schijfvlak. Very quick corner in the dry conditions, but not quite in the rain. As he goes for the Masters corner and then into turn 9 and to turn 10 here. I don't think they're named if I'm not mistaken. So the Aston Martin makes its way through to what would be the second DRS zone, as Swip is just up ahead here, trying to get out of the way. Should be doing that on the right hand side, just making sure. Sector 2 split, 1.0.1. We'll see how that's going to fare up later on. Make its way into the Hans Air chicane, and now down towards the Kummerwocht. I'm not going to ask for you to pronounce those names because I don't think you're going to get anywhere near it, honestly. But as we go for the Arie Leijenbergbocht, the bank corner, 18 degrees, and now onto the start-finish line, and a 1:25.6 will be the first lap set in this session.
Yeah, I'm gonna take 0 attempts at all of the names. I'm just gonna go with corner numbers. I think is probably just the best for me before I expose myself.
I
But
should be fine with turn 9 and 10, honestly.
uh,
But
yeah, we'll just leave it with corner numbers. I think it's just gonna be best for me. But
yeah, it's the
uh,
easier thing. But well,
yeah,
for all the Dutch in the division, it might be nice to hear the
yeah,
real names here.
yeah. It was nice. It was nice to hear it over one lap. But we'll just yeah. California goes on to provisional pole position with a 24.352, just 1.3 seconds roughly faster than Jamie Met. We haven't seen too much of California really. It feels like he's been here for most of the races, just hasn't kind of had the results that I'm sure you would have been hoping for. I would imagine now we'd start to get quite a few more lap times in on the board. Energetics is just coming around the final set of corners to start a lap. There's a Williams coming on to the line that
Axel.
goes, or Axel just finishing. Let's see what he sets. A 33.0, so a mistake in there. Evil Dragon, I think, has a qualifying ban if I'm
Yep.
incorrect.
That's,
So yeah, he has to not set a lap in qualifying. Jess goes into P4 on 26.432. Iconex goes up to P2 on a 25.5. There's an Aston Martin to the line that'll be Swip, I think. Or no, that was
no,
Jamie.
that's just Jamie Metz.
Yeah, Jamie met
Yeah,
once again at
improving his time.
25.6. Yeah, and then swept his teammate onto a 25.993.
Yeah. In the meantime, Jordan's gone up at P2, as we see Eagles Matt slotting it in between the Astons at P6. Jordan is in P2, 4th behind California, who's set a pretty quick time as we look at this so far. Meantime, Cedinho is one that is always around in the Discord server, and authorized today, and thought, why not? Clean driver. So, might as well replace the other Belgian that's not here. So, yeah, he's going to be doing his best. He's got himself into 4th place so far. Let's see if we have some yellow flags. Everyone just trying to get their laps in. One of the Haas drivers starting lap, I think, is Robert, just about. So I'll have maybe having an available run before Ibo into P10 earlier, just there. That's, I think it is also just starting a lap as well, so no surprises there. Axel coming across the line, maybe a better lap this time out. His first attempt wasn't too good, but this one is very good. Into P2 he goes. So we see Energetics just slotting in a time in P11, not quite right up there. Jess is coming across the line. She is managed to improve, not improve actually, 9,000s, but off her other time. Jamie across the line, no improvement, 8,000s there. So we're seeing some consistency here for both those drivers.
Yeah, not improving there was Jimmy Metz. Swip was invalid in 1.6 seconds off of his time. Ecos Matt's coming to the line. He was down by a tenth in the coming through the middle sector split, but yeah, lost quite a bit of time in that final sector. Maybe just saving up for one more lap. Of course, usually the more laps that you do, the quicker that you'll get over time. Esteban to the line does not improve. I think that was Ghost Recon or Axel up to the line. It was Ghost. I want to say Ghost Recon to the line. He goes up to P4. We haven't seen too much from Ghost Recon either. I'm sure we'd like to see a little bit more from the American driver, of
Robert.
course, being American. Robert heading to the line with an AlphaTauri right behind them. I think I want to say that's Jav. No, Ibo coming in the line. But Robertson goes up into P5 at Alpine. Just across the line. Was that Ghost just starting? Yes, it was.
Yep.
An AlphaTauri that is Jav. He's invalid. It was a 30.8, so it would have been slowest of all the drivers there, but it was invalid either way. Old School up to P13. Of course, the
That's
track.
no ERS lap.
Yeah, that of course a track that I don't think you'll be too quick at once we get into the race. Of course, Swip, our lobby host, saying in the chat that it's going to be a dry race. Energetics goes P13, and then you have the McLaren and Jess once again not improving on her lap. Jamie met into the pit lane. The Mercedes, I want to say it's Jordan to the line, not improving either.
Yeah, just getting a few times in. Also, did say he liked the track in the chat, so maybe just getting a few laps in on no ERS. So have a big wobble there out of the Masters corner there, because his way down into turn 9. One of the Ferraris coming to the end of this lap. Esteban once again not improving this time. He seems to be struggling this session so far, but might be later on. California makes his way into the pits. As he goes Recon coming towards starting another lap, I think, given his lap of time 1:36 there is not quite representative. Oh, Robert, I think, as well towards the end of the lap, just coming back into the pits. I'm very curious to see if anyone's going to attempt the Intus in this session. So see Goshi came for his first lap, then into P12. Not quite where he'd hoped to be. I'd imagine Jav getting his first valid lap in. P16, apparently having 6 mojitos behind the wheel. So if for anyone watching, I wouldn't advise doing what he's done, but especially not in real life anyway. But you never know, Jav drifting around at 2 and 3 currently, so we'll see how that's going to fare on for him later. Especially with the weather, it's going to be very difficult, I think, to keep his attention onto the track. Jordan, I think, is just coming back into the pits as well, so not quite the lap he's hoping for. Swift just about to start a lap as well. One of the Alfa Romeos, Sabino, as well, starting a lap. Equals Matt, I think, just coming back into the pits, so yeah, a lot of drivers just switching between their first and second runs now. Usually get 3 sets for the entirety of the weekend, 3 sets full wets anyway. So they'll go from 1 and 2, and then keep the last one for the race, potentially if there's any rain. Swift said it was dry, Jav said in the division chat that was wet, so we'll have to see what this is going to be. We'll have to see Ghost UK if he can improve as he's heading down for the last corner, bank corner. It's going to be very difficult on track. You're seeing it, Ghost UK definitely not full out. He's opted to go back into the pits, not improving potentially. Because Recon going back in as well.
Yeah, a lot of drivers, as we're just hitting, it's not really the midpoint of the session, but everyone just kind of getting their first laps done and dusted as they head on to, as you mentioned, a second set of tires, just to try and get those faster laps and try and get the most out of the lap that you can, get the most out of the track, use as much as the track as you can on those flying laps. Energetics coming to the line. Doesn't improve. It was 5.4 seconds down, so you wouldn't expect him to improve on that. Jess, I think, just had a little bit of a mistake coming out of the final corner there as she slowly rolls herself into the pit lane. Slip coming around the final corner. Seemed a little cautious just coming over the hill. Let's see what it is. Only down by a 1/10.5, so it looks like drivers are struggling to find that time once they do get a competitive lap time on the board, as California still leads us up at the front. He took provisional pole position. He was the second driver to set a lap, I think, and hasn't let go of it since. A 24.352 for the Red Bull driver, and he's still in the pit lane as we speak right now. Jordan just coming out of the pit lane as he's just heading through the first sector right now. Jamie Met is the next highest driver in P8 out on track as he's on a lap right now, just heading through the first sector, heading up through these S's through 5 and 6 right now across the first sector split. He's down by a 1/10 of a second as we head into the downhill right-hander of turn 7. Then you're going to flick it left and then back right for turn 8. You're going to avoid the curb just on the inside there as we break into 9. Braking on the curb is Jamie Met just sliding around a little bit. As Jamie Met as we find ourselves back on the right-hand side of the track for the left-hander of turn 10. And now in the dry, we'd be activating DRS here as we just cross that line on the circuit. But we're going to hit the middle sector split now as we break for the chicane. He's up by 8.5 tenths of a second. Ooh, a little bit deep there into turn 11 though, and that means he's wide for 12, but he could potentially find himself up into the top 5. Here does Jamie Met, but a little bit of a sloppy final sector as we head through 13 all over the curb on the outside, and that's going to be invalid. If he finishes, I would like to see what the time is for the Aston Martin driver. That final sector did look very, very shaky. He was up by 8/10 of a second and lost 3/10, but it still would have been good enough for a P5.
Yeah, it's a shame to ruin that lap like that, because that was a very good one up until then. And yeah, maybe even without the mistakes, he could have gotten himself among the top 3 even. So we'll have to see. In behind, Jordan is going to be on lap, just scrolling around if he sees anyone else is going to be on one. Old School, I think, is on a lap. Second up, honestly, but still not using ERS, I think, which is quite extraordinary because he's 5 minutes left. It's going to be very difficult to maybe get used to the ERS being on. Maybe he's using it in certain parts where we can't see it. I'm just going to check when it's coming onto the straight. No, he's not using it here either, so I'm quite puzzled with that one. He has gone up to P9, so it's not even that horrendous. I'd say try to turn your ERS on this. Ibo's coming across the line. 26.7, that's relatively competitive. I'm wondering if it's going to drive energetics on improvement into P5. So we see Swift, I think, as well, second up. It could be getting a little bit better, the conditions, potentially, or drivers are getting more used to it. I'm just going to check if anyone is opted for intermediates, but it doesn't look like that for now. 4 minutes left session, so maybe someone does. Swip into P2, very good time from him. As Jordan is also 3 tenths up and potentially on for a pole position lap here. Mercedes across the line, just about. Naps it from California. 124.2 for the Scotsman there. As Steven is also making his way across the final corner to start a lap, actually. So he's not going to be on one. Goes UK on a very good time as well. 2 seconds up, 2.1. That could get him among the top times as well. The ultimate corner looks a bit sloppy. Let's see how the final corner is going to go for the Alpine driver. So he accelerates out of the final corner across the line. Can he get himself onto the first spot? Yes, he can. Into the 23. So that's the first one here. Very good time from him. Let's see, Old School now. He is going to end his lap. He's now used ERS, so let's see what the improvement is going to be. Ooh. If there is, no, he's come back in. That's peculiar. Very late decision there. As there's Recon just about to start a lap as well. One of the Red Bulls energetics, and then it's Robert who's just about to start a lap as well, with Iconex doing the same.
Yeah, just watching Energetic across the line there, 7 tenths down on his previous best time, 25.192, which is that time. Robertson just crossing the line to start as well as Iconex, as you said, through the final corner. There's a Mercedes heading through the final sector right now. It looks like Jordan. Let's see if he's going to be able to improve. It doesn't look like he's pushing, though. I don't think he is.
No, he's going to go for another run, I think. It's very quick cooldown lap, but I guess that's just also not ERS using, and then just pushing it on. Steban, towards the end of his lap, 1.1 second up, and that's a 23.9 into P1. Very good final sector then, or just had a lot of time to still gain there. Swip about to start a lap as well once again, as everyone's making their way out for the final runs. Just gonna check. I'm seeing Jamie met on intermediates. That's one to keep an eye on if he's made the right call. No, it does look very wet, as I've just seen Swift go very wide onto the curb into turn 3. And he's off track and having to, go again a bit later. Just looking around if we can find anyone on an improvement. Goes Recon is invalid towards the end of his lap. Energetics invalid as well. Roberts is on the lap. I didn't see his sector split, but he's coming around the final 2 corners now. Let's see if he can get himself among the top guys, as the position seems to have improved. It looks very dodgy out there. I think Robert's using no assist. And across the line, he does get himself into P1. 23.6 is a very good time, and could these intermediates work for Jamie? We're going to have to keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. As you can see, a lot of drivers are indeed improving. Ghost Recon has pulled into the pit lane and retired, so that's going to be his session over and done with. Only a few drivers are going to get laps, and I think California is going to only have 1 lap on his set of tires. Same for Old School and Jess Gamer. They're only going to have that 1 lap, as they're on out laps right now, and there's only, well, if the yellow flags are clear, there's only a minute left in the session, so if you finish a lap now, you'll be starting your final flying lap of the session. There's a Red Bull just crossing the line. I think that's California just starting. There's a Ferrari just crossing the line, as well as a McLaren. I think that's going to be Jess. And then there's a Alpine. That's Ghost UK. He was up by a 10th of the middle sector split and loses a little bit of time, and he's going to end his session there as he backs off into turn 1. So we have a Haas. I think that's going to be Old School. And then we have Robertson, who I don't think is pushing. He was down by a second and a half, 2.3 seconds.
Yeah.
As across the middle sector split line. Axel through the middle sector. He was up by 0.05 of a second through the first sector. He's up by 3/10 now. This would put him onto a 24.4. Only enough for 1 position. Let's see what he could do through the final sector. He still has quite a bit of ERS, which he is using, but of course, being through this kind of slow-ish final sector, we'll see what he has to do through turn 13 and now through turn 14. Let's see, a little bit slidey there on the exit, but the checkered flag has dropped up on the start-finish line. He finds a ton of time in that final sector and puts him up onto the front row of the grid. There's a Mercedes to the line. Jordan doesn't improve on his lap time, so the best he'll start is 5th to reignite his championship challenge. Sabinho coming to the line. Let's see what the Alfa Romeo is going to be able to do. Crossing the line, finds 1.1 seconds and puts himself up into P7. There's an Aston Martin to the line. I think that was Jamie Met. Doesn't improve on those inters. They just weren't quite good enough. California
Oh,
puts himself back up on a provisional pole position by a solid by 3/10 of a second there. There's a McLaren to the line. That's Jess. It finds 3/10 of a second, but stays in P15. And then I think it's just going to be Ibo and then maybe Old School. Ecos Mats is
old school
backed
seven.
off.
Yeah, old school 7 tenths up, so he could have an improvement here. Can find some more time in the last sector. See where he can get himself up to. Saw some decent pace so far. I don't think it's going to be quite in the top 5, but a decent lap nonetheless into P8 for the Haas driver. And that concludes the session as Ghost UK is invalid and done with the session. So, quite a peculiar top 3 here. We have California in P1, ahead of Roberts and then Axel in P3, with Steban in P4. Jordan down in P6, so he's not going to be too happy. Sabino in his, well, not debut, but debut for this season, for this game in P7, not too bad either for him. And yeah, Ghost UK in P5, just running it through for the rest. Old School in P8, Swip is going to be in P9, goes Recon right up to the top 10. And the Jetting in P11, I connect to P12. One, if it is going to be dry, I'd watch out for in the race, definitely. Jamie Matt in P13 with Mats in P14. Same goes for him as for Iconex. Then it's Jess and Ibo on the 8th row on the grid. And then on the last and 9th row is going to be Jav and Evil Dragon, who had a qualifying ban anyway. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. See how the weather is going to play out. Because that could definitely throw some spice into this once again, if we see it in this qualifying.
Yeah, I would just like to point out our top 4 in qualifying are 13th, 16th, 14th, and 15th in the championship. So they have an average championship standing of roughly 15, which is kind of insane to think about. But obviously, the wet conditions, as someone once said, are the great equalizer in Formula One. So we're seeing that in that qualifying session here for the Netherlands Grand Prix. But after short qualifying there, we're going to be heading into the full, not the full, the 50% race. Here, of course, as is usual in the League of Europe and of course most league racing, but we'll have to see what this 50% race is going to bring us. Of course, I think it's 36 laps, I want to say. So it's quite a long distance and does take quite a little bit. But as always around Zenith, overtaking is going to be very, very difficult. So the drivers up at the front, as long as they don't make mistakes, as it does look like it's going to be overcast, so a possibility of rain. Those top
Mhm.
4 on the grid are going to have a hard time trying to keep these guys behind, I'd say.
Yeah, Ibo saying it's a dry race, so we'll have to see. Um, you're gonna have to see. Usually you'd go for the hard start here. Maybe if you're at the front, you can get away with a medium start. But obviously, as the track position is quite important, and overtake is fairly difficult. It's gonna be very difficult to make some ground up on those mediums or even softs at the start of the race. We'll have to see. There will definitely be some drivers that opt for it. As we're heading into the formation lap just now, I'm seeing mostly white wall tires,
I'm
honestly.
seeing a few mediums, I
We're gonna have
think.
to check. Mediums further down, actually. At the front, it was mostly hards. As Axel and P3 is on the mediums, so he's going to try and get through as soon as he can. Same goes for Jordan, Sabine and Old School on the mediums there as well. Swept down at P9 on the hards again with 3 medium runners behind him. Goes Recon, Energetics, and Iconex, all drivers that can be quick on their day, definitely. Then another 3 on the hards with Jamie Mats playing a long game down here, with Jess as well on the hard. And then we have Ivo on softs, Java mediums, and Evil Dragon as well on softs. I'm curious what progress he can make from the back of the grid. I'll have to see. Because the softs, they're not a great race tire, but honestly, they have a lot of grip in the first few laps. So, you know, if you place your car right, and we've seen Evil Dragon has been able to do this in a few certain races, he could definitely gain quite a lot of positions early on and if a potential early safety here could play into his hands as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this race will pan out. of course, a high likelihood of safety cars, I'd say, because the walls are very, very close here in the Netherlands, and of course, mistakes can be made very, very easily. As of course, it's quite a technical circuit, is Zandvoort, so you kind of have to be. I mean, there's only really one line to take all of these corners at, and if you're trying to go side by side, it's really just not kind of going to happen unless you're in turn one. And once you get past turn one, you have two, three, and four right after that. So we'll have to wait and see what these drivers are going to be able to do and what they're going to be able to pull off in these first few laps of the race as people start to jostle for position just to try and get their footing into the beginning of this race. But we'll have to wait and see as we have 36 laps ahead of us as drivers are just coming to the end of the formation lap. California slotting into pole position as, of course, California 13th in the championship. His best result being a third place in Bahrain, and hasn't scored and has only scored 4 points in the 5 races after that. So be interested to see what he can do. Robertson and Axel cheating a little bit, trying to get as much of an advantage as they can off the start line. Of course, Axel would be trying to do that as much as he can. And just watching on Board with Evil Dragon, seeing Ibo completely sideways on the grid. But we have 5 lights in front of us for the 14th round of the championship here in Season 9. It's lights out, and away we go. Looks like California got a pretty decent start as Robertson is not going to be able to challenge him into turn 1. But Axel's around the outside of Robertson. The outside line is preferred here at turn 1. I saw a bunch of front wing flying. I think that's Evil Dragon going into the back of Iconex there, who falls down in the order. He's down to 17th, but Robertson is able to keep P2, and he's able to hold it over Axel. We have a crash in the background. That's Energetics and Jamie Met, and we have a virtual safety car.
Yeah, I was watching. I actually mentioned Evil Dragon running into the back. I don't know if he did. Not seeing any damage anyway for him, but I went to the back and I saw an Aston Martin sideways on the road and a Red Bull as well at the other point. So yeah, 2 guys out. We now have a full safety car, by the way. Just gonna look at it. Was definitely without a front wing. I'm just looking around if we can see some more drivers with some damage. Which yeah, Matt's front wing is gone as well. Jav has made a great start here. He's up to P10. He's managed to avoid everything some way or another. Probably have to ask later how he's done that. Other than that, I don't think there's too much going on at the front half of the grid. Just checking if there's any big swaps in position. Yeah, Jav gone up 7 positions. The top 7 have stayed the exact same order. I don't expect any of them to go in if they have no damage. It's quite a long race, and doing 35 laps on the hard or even the mediums is pretty much not what you want. But maybe some Daredevil will go for it. Some drives faking it out. The Ghost Recon potentially having some damage. He's gone in anyway. Let's check, because he's been on the mediums. Could be just going for hards, but it looks like the front wing change coming up for the Williams driver as the right end plate seems to be gone and missing. Iconex in as well with Mats and Ibo. The former 2 opting for the hardest set of tire, with Mats opting for another set of mediums here, and Ibo doing the same there. So yeah, California, a very good start, remained in the lead. Robertson manages to get his position back right away after losing it off the start to Axel. And yeah, the rest of it remains the same, just in mind.
Yeah, it was a decent start for California. Robertson looked a little shaky off the line, but I'm surprised Axel wasn't able to get Robertson going into turn 1 on the outside line, of course, as the outside line is pretty powerful around turn 1, but Axel just biding his time a little bit. If anything, this helping him, I'd say, a little bit. Just giving those medium tires that he started on just a little bit more life. We can go a little bit further into the race before he has to make the mandatory switch to either the hard tires, which I would expect, or the soft tires, either one. But you know, you can never predict what people are going to do here in Division 4. It's quite unpredictable. But yeah, California leads from the safety car as we'll get underway once everybody closes up to the back into the train. Ibo being the last one in P16, and we were just talking about Jamie Met, how he's been so consistent this season. He's already out on lap 1.
Yeah, I remember another race. I don't remember which one it was, but he had another race where it was the case. I think it was Imola actually, where he was out before turn 1 even. So yeah, either he's very consistent or he's in the wall on lap 1. So that's a bit unfortunate, but I guess you have those races where you can't really do too much about it. And I mean, if there's any incidents that want to be reported to the stewards, there will be. We'll have to just see how that's going to pin out later. So Mats and Ibo will be making their way back to the pack on this lap, so I expect we to go on the way At the end of this lap anyway, with California leading the train. And let's see if he can hold on to this advantage that he's had, or that it's going to be a bit more difficult. And yeah, that Robert and Axel, especially in the mediums, can challenge up front. And we'll have to see how that's going to pan out.
Yeah, just waiting for Ibo as he's actually just caught up to the back of the train. So once we get past through that middle sector split, the safety car will be peeling off into the pit lane. We'll get to see what California is going to try and come up with here on the safety car restart. Is he going to go out of turn 13? Is he going to go, or is he going to go slow to the line and just, go when Robert Sum isn't expecting it? Or I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Safety car, of course, will be in this lap as California will take control of the pack, and he'll start to slow everybody down. He's going very well, a little bit slower than most people would, I would imagine, under 50 miles an hour, roughly 46, 45. Just, oh, sorry about that. Just holding everybody up. Weaving, trying to find a little bit of front tire temperature. Here is the Red Bull as we head into turn 13. He could probably go now if he wanted to and not catch the safety car. Of course, that being the key, you can't pass the safety car until it's in the pit lane, and it is in the pit lane now. So California can go anytime from now. Let's see what he's gonna be able, or let's see what he's gonna do. He's running it all the way through turn 14. And he goes right on the exit of turn 14 there. Robertson caught sleeping just a little bit. And Axel's going to be side by side with him. You can't overtake until the wide. Axel will just have to back off a little bit. But I think his momentum is going to be able to carry him up the inside into turn 1. Robertson's just going to have to give that position up. Has to bend on the outside. It goes to UK. The Ferrari makes the move on the Alpine. It looks like he's going to have the favorable line into turn 3 there. And he's up the inside of turn 3. And he's going to be up into P4. Goes UK down to P5. Jordan in P6 looking to find a championship challenge. Here is Jordan late on into the season with Polypols missing a race here in the Netherlands. Sabino in P7, of course, on his debut here for Season 9. Swip at P8 currently. Evil Dragon up to P9 as Swip has a little bit of a mistake. I think that was, I didn't quite catch it, but Evil Dragon's up into P8 using those soft tires to their absolute best as of right now. Of course, up 10 positions already in this Grand Prix. Iconex making his way past Ghost Recon, or Ghost Recon making his way past Iconex. Either way, they're side by side as we head through turn 10 and onto the back straight. They're still going to be side by side. I think, if anything, Old School is going to try and get in the way of this battle. The Ferrari's up the inside of the Williams, and he makes contact with Old School and brings them with him as they find themselves in the wall almost, or at least Iconex was in the wall. So Iconex already being involved in an incident early on in this race and has involved himself in another one as he drifts out of turn 12.
In the meantime, Goshike making a bit of a mistake, and he's going to lose about 3 positions here. California says the fastest lap of the race. Jordan being able to get through in the chicane. And Sabino just through the banking there with Evil Dragon on the straight, getting past as well. So Goshike having a bit of a setback as Madsen goes Recon side by side here. Matt completing that move. Randy has at the turn 1 a very pretty move there actually from the Mercedes. And yeah, a bit fortunate for Iconex. I don't think he's any front wing damage, but it could be that he has some other damage around the car. We'll have to see or hear about that from him later. Ibo's quite staying with this train for now. You know, California's gap at the front is about 9/10 to a second. Is juggling around that bit for now. So Ibo's, as I was praising him, it's half spun there. I don't think he hit the wall, but he's now down a few seconds. So that's a bit unfortunate to see. Evil Dragon seems to be on the hunt, on a mission on the soft set of tires, though. He's already made a few positions. He made that move on Swip through turn 7. Which was a very pretty move actually. Switch back out of it and make use of that soft grip tire. Have to see though how long he can hold on to it, because I reckon the softs are not going to be too good. So we have Ghost Recon spinning around through turn 13, and he's going to be in the walls. Jordan's the fastest lap of the race, and he is willing to go onto the move onto the next few hard runners, Robert and Steban.
Yeah, Iconex says he got a little bit of clean air. He just had to pass Jess there as they headed to the line. But Iconex setting the fastest lap of the race. Now DRS will be enabled, so Iconex will be charging, trying to make up as many positions as possible. His next target is going to be Old School's 2.7 seconds off the train. Of course, Iconex causing the incident with him and Old School. I wouldn't be surprised if Old School reported him for that, brought him to the steward's room. But we'll just have to wait and see as Ecos Mats is the back end of this,
Ooh,
of this 3. Ooh, yeah, race leader. spinning around on the exit of turn 8 there as he does an extra few donuts just trying to get the car in the right direction. So now Axel's been gifted with a P1 and he's already broken DRS to Robertson, so he's in a very good position already. I was just going to say, though, this 3-car train for P8 currently, Yukos Mats is on the back of Jav, who follows Swip, the previous teammates from last season, of course. And then we have the train for the train for P2 through P7 and Axel, all the way up at the front, already clear, one by 1.6 seconds.
Here comes Sabino on the back of Jordan. And wants to go for a move down towards turn 1. Can he make that one stick? Sends it up the inside. Looks like he's going to have that move complete. Jordan's trying to switch back into turn 2 though. Is he going to be able to stick it through? No, he thinks better of it and backs out of that one. And Sabino is now the one who may try to go for something on the back of Steban here. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to do that in the next couple of laps. He's down to 30% DRS, so he's definitely used some. Well, Steban still has a basically full battery, so very peculiar to see that. Sabino all over the back of the Ferrari though. Not going to quite be able to get moves on here. As you see this train for P8 still very close together actually, within 4 or 5 tenths from each other. As Mats is going to be probably the quickest one out of these and going to try to make a move on the outside here. Not quite, because Rick can get a pass just in the background. So we see Mats on the back of Jaff, but not quite able to get through. I think Jaff has a little bit more straight line speed. It's going to help him stay ahead, but Jaff is still needing to get past the Aston Martin up ahead, which is not going to be very easy to do. So we go back towards the front group. Axel's gap is now 1.9 seconds. Has gained a few tenths over the last lap. As we see Sabino having a big run on the Ferrari of Steban, and I think he's going to be sailing past here into P3, the Alfa Romeo, and he is looking to go through here. Steban fighting it though, deep on the brakes, leaving each other enough space there. As they head into turn 2, Sabino looks to have the benefit there of the medium tire and is through. In behind we have some battles going on. Jav's got past the Swip here into turn 1, I think it was. I think Old School and iConnect are very close together as well. California getting past just as well. As we go back to the front, as we look very close together here, this whole train.
Yeah, it looks like Esteban is just falling a little bit further back. Of course, Sabino just making that move on him into turn 1. He had to use a little bit of his battery, but I think he's in good position still. P4 with the most battery comfortably out of everybody in this train. Ghost UK on 29%, Evil Dragon on 26%, as he's going to be pitting very, very soon. Jordan on 40%, Esteban on, well, almost full basically. Sabino on 24%. He's been the aggressor out of this trade so far. Already made 2 moves in the last 2 laps, and I'd imagine he'd be right onto the back of Robertson, and he's going to try and close down Axel for that race victory, or the race lead as it stands right now. Of course, we're on lap 8 of 36. We're about to be on lap 9 as we head through turn 14 with P2. Sabino already onto the back of the Haas driver, and there's going to be absolutely nothing that he could do about it. Doesn't even use his DRS to try and defend it. There's just no point. And Sabino is going to be up into P2, so a good debut so far for the Belgian driver, as he's it looks like he has a lot of pace, but he's just been making his way through these hard tire runners, and those medium tires are working quite well for him.
Yeah, they are working quite well, and the pace seems to be good so far, but can he match Axel's up front? He's used the DRS for it. Axel has a lot more battery here to use. We'll have to see how that's going to fare out for the next couple of laps. So he does seem to carry a bit more speed here and there for certain corners. Looks fairly quick so far. Jordan is just waiting out to see if he can get through. It's not an easy track to overtake by any means. Turn 1 really being the only opportunity, as Jam's having a bit of a mistake. Mats is looking up the inside towards turn 10. So we get towards the second DRS zone here. Can he get a move done? As we see Steban actually going at it on Roberts, which is a very peculiar play. It's a bit of contact wheel to wheel, as that is almost inevitable. As this allows Sabino to get away now. Steban is going to still be side by side with him into the penultimate corner, shoved out like a little bit, as Jordan is now able to get through as well. And Jordan is probably going to try and go for a move on Steban here as well. Looking towards the outside of turn 1, and I think he should get this move completed if he's deep enough on the brakes. The mediums as well. Steban sending it back up the inside, bit of contact. Yeah, the Steban is just inevitable if you can send it on that curb. Eventually you're going to go around, and that's what happens to the Ferrari. He's now back down as he's trying to get his car back onto the road. It doesn't seem to succeed very well at it, but he's back into P12 now. So yeah, a bit of a hot-headed move almost, I'd say. I think it was a bit too far-fetched there for the Ferrari.
Yeah, I think it was just a little bit too aggressive for Esteban. It looked like he had a decent amount of pace, so he could have just, well, he could have just stayed in behind. And Jordan, of course, wouldn't have had DRS off of Sabino, so he could have just made the move whenever he wanted or whenever he really felt like it. But now he's going to be down into P12 and behind his Ferrari teammate, who's already been into the pits once this race and been in another incident with another driver. So iConnect's already back or onto the back of Jav for P9. So it looks like Iconex does have quite a bit of pace, but of course being involved in that incident right at the beginning of the race really kind of killed his hopes unless he gets a lucky safety car. I'll just have to wait and see how the strategy is going to play out for the Ferrari man. Oh, just as I saw that jab spinning around in turn 13.
Hey. Did actually decent on the amount of mojitos he said it was on, so yeah, a bit of a shame to see that. But he's down in P11. I don't think he has any damage, not going into the pits anyway. He must be able to continue on. The gap from Axel to Speed is now down to 1.3. It was for a second, now it's back up to 1.5. Mats is set a fast lap of the race, as he just seemed to have some pace in those mediums. Maybe helped by a bit of clean air. And he's now going to be on the back of this train now behind, who's getting left by his teammate actually.
Oh,
So we see Roberts going left into the wall, and I think just a front wing missing, but yeah, that is very unfortunate for the Haas driver. And it's going to lose him more and more spots as he's trying to recover his car. He's going to have to pit as Mats is now side by side with Ghost UK for P5. It looks like Eagles Mats is going to go through and go into P5 now. He has the McLaren of Evil Dragon just up ahead there.
yeah, only one of their original top four are left, and it's actually started in P3 on those medium compounded tires. So, yeah, unfortunate for everyone who started, or the rest of the drivers who started in the top four there. But Sabino is in P2, closing down Axel. Axel has a decent amount of ERS, so he could use it if he really wanted to. But I think it's just smarter to save it up. Let Sabino use his pace, use up his tires, and he'll have to pit earlier, I would imagine, considering how fast Sabino is going. But Jordan currently P3, followed by Evil Dragon, who's 1.8 seconds, 2 seconds now behind him.
Comes Eagles Mats.
Yeah, Ecos Mats is
Ooh.
all over the back of that McLaren gearbox, and Evil Dragon is derating. Those soft tires are not going to be very nice on that McLaren. His jab is
Oh, Jeff.
out,
That could
uh,
be a safety car, and it
and it
is.
is, yeah.
And that's perfect for every medium running here, and probably Evil Dragon as well, to be honest. Because they're going to be just able to go to the hards. Now, the hard runners, could you go to the mediums? I think it's a stretch, but it's possible. We've seen Old School do something like this. I think it was last week, I'm pretty sure, in Austria, where you did the soft-medium strategy. I think it's possible to go from hards to mediums. Is it going to be safe enough that you don't risk a puncture? I don't know
I
about
think
that
it's on
one
the
for
edge.
sure. It'll be very much on the edge, especially with the safety car laps. Will help a little bit, obviously, because Ricon's gone in. I think we should see the latest go in as well. It'd be interesting if I hope the Williams pit box has been cleared out for Axel, because otherwise this could be a nasty pit stop here. You never know with this game. We'll have to see as he's going in, hoping he doesn't get held up for the sake of neutrality. Mats, once again, I'm not certain who does his strategy. Evil Dragon's gone into the mediums, peculiar. Not sure who does Mats' strategy. This is not the one. This is like the most obvious pit stop you could ask for, and he's not taking it. And taking it now is, I mean, you're gonna be back down to where you were at the start of the race. I'm not quite sure. It's just a spin in the pit lane, bit of an unnecessary one as well. Can't lie. We've seen some drivers go and opt for that medium set of tires though. They're listening in, and they're gonna try and stretch us to the end potentially. Evil Dragon being the first one of them. It's kind of the soft medium strategy, is right. iConnect is up there as well with Steven and California mediums. Robert on softs pitted, I think, a lap earlier because he smashed into the wall. And Jess and then goes Recon almost a lap down, but yeah, now also on a fresher set of mediums. So he's going to be able to catch back up when we have 15 drives remaining. I can see why Ghost and Swift stayed out. I don't know why Mats stayed out. I can't wrap my head around that one.
Yeah, that is a weird one. I won't lie to you. But either way, he does indeed lead as of right now. If he were to pit, he'd probably come out behind California, I want to say.
Yeah, if not
So,
further, maybe even Roberts.
yeah. So difficult to say why Mads didn't pit there, but either way, he still leads. Ghost UK is in front of Swip. Of course, they both stayed out on the hard tires, which is kind of difficult because you don't really have much of a choice, do you? Axel came out in front of Swip, or well, stayed in front of Swip. Jordan in P3 stays there. Evil Dragon, perfect timing on that safety car for him, but still the decision to go to mediums is a weird one. iConnect is now up into P8, P5 on net positions if he can get those mediums to the end. As it looks like he's trying to burn fuel. Old School P9, he's going to be going to the end. Ibo P12, or P10, 12 laps done on his medium tires. He stayed out. Esteban P11 after that spin. California P12. Robertson P13 on the sauce. And then Jess and Ghost Recon are P14 and P15.
Yeah, 15 for everything contention on the way still. I think we'll go one more lap before it goes Recon can catch up, and then at the end of lap 15 we can go racing again. Be very interesting because obviously it's going to be crucial for these top hard runners to get past, you know, the slower guys ahead, considering their tire life. Axel's going to be very curious. I've not seen too much of him, you know, at the front of a race and in this situation, so it'll be very interesting how he handles it. Same with Sabino, obviously. Jordan is usually very calm and collected and gets his move done when he needs to get done. Evil Dragon is one that definitely dares to go for the move, same with Iconix. And on those mediums, they might try and cause some havoc here. Especially with some slow guys ahead, it will bunch up a little bit, and then you never know what we're going to see. So I think we could be in for a little bit of chaos here. We'll have to see how that's going to unfold, though. But, yeah, I think we're just going to go one more lap, and then the safety car's going to come in, except Evil Dragon almost getting alongside Jordan there. That's not what you're supposed to do. Same goes for iConnect here as well. Yeah, one more lap and then we should be getting on the way.
Yeah, of course, just Recon just taking a little bit too long before catching up to the safety car there. But yeah, I'm not really sure what Ecos Mats is going to do. Of course, Ghost and Swip were kind of forced to stay out or forced to pit and go on to the mediums, but I don't know if their tires would have made it. As really is the age-old question: is are your tires going to make it? But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Of course, Ecos Mats is not going to be going anywhere near the end of this race before making another pit stop. Yeah, Ecos Mats
I'm just
making.
thinking, could Mats potentially, you know, Evil Dragon's doing a soft medium here. Could Mats be trying to do a medium soft here?
But either
And just
way,
that,
you safety car.
of course. But we've seen that he is pretty quick. He has two hard runners behind him. Obviously, that is a bit of an unquestionable one. Because if that didn't happen, then you know you never know where you're gonna end up. But like, if he managed to get away a few seconds and then is on softs at the end, maybe another safety car will play into his hands. As the safety car will be in this lap, as you can see. There could be a good chance for him if he makes that work in the end. But it's going to be very difficult. Experience myself, the hearts even work quite a bit. So we'll have to see if he's going to be able to. So he's leading the grid here now, coming through the exit chicane and going for this final two corners very soon. He's going to have to leave it quite late here because the safety car's not even in the pit yet. He's heading through the penultimate corner. I think he's going to wait a little longer. We might go around the same spot as California did. We'll have to see if Ghost UK can anticipate from this one. He's just high up in the banking here. We're getting alongside NASCAR style. Waiting a bit longer now. As he's gone now, Ecos Matt. I see some front wing flying in behind. I'm not sure whose that was. As we're going down to turn one, we see Ghost UK and Swip side by side here. Swip going over the curb. Ghost UK remains that position due to that bit of chaos in behind as well. As I mentioned, California getting his way through into P8 almost here. As he spins around though, and he's going to be in the wall and front wing gone. So that is another setback for the Red Bull driver. Did you see anything what happened on the restart?
I was kind of just watching up at the front. Nothing really happened at the front besides the two hard runners that did stay out. I think, well, they almost swapped positions. Swip went up the inside after Ghost UK went a little bit deep into the first corner there, but unable to make a move was Was Swip there? Ooh, Axel has a big snap, and Sabino is looking to get up into P5. Axel ghosted after having that snap of oversteer. Or Jordan now looking to the outside as we
Jordan.
head down towards the chicane. He's just going to back out of that one, but Sabino is up into the net lead of this race as it stands right now. He's up into P4, and he's on. As the two drivers behind him are on fresh hard, so they should be able to get to the end of this race. So as long as he stay there, he should have a good chance at, well, winning this race, I'd like to think, without any more safety cars. But California and Iconex as well. Strange to see him down there once again for the third time already in this race. Iconex being in last. He's down in P15 behind California. Jess has dropped off the back of this train as well, as Iconex has managed to pick up a 3-second penalty for, I'm not
I think
sure.
you can get one going into the pit lane. I think that's the thing there. If he wants to get it removed, it's probably doable. But if you cut it, I mean, there's not much argument in that. Meantime, Mats has pulled a 2-second gap on Goshike, who's put another second gap on Swip, which is basically the perfect scenario for equals Mats. And this is exactly what he wants. If he can get this gap to keep growing, who knows what's possible. But those tires are not going to enjoy their life at the end, so we'll have to see how much he can keep doing this. Obviously, having two drivers on all the tires as well behind, potentially slower, especially, well, not to cause any favor, but Swipe doesn't look like the quickest out of these bunch, as Goshike's already got that gap up to 1.6 here. And that's going to help Mats a little bit, but the DRS will come into play, and that might help Sabino and Light of such, as the DRS will be enabled now. Sabino is already on the run on the back of Swip. Let's see, is he going to go for the move, or down the inside? I think he's going to complete this move quite easily here. No big trouble for him. Swip trying to switch back, but not quite able to. So you see the medium runners
Oh, he
and
spins!
Jordan on the back of Swip into the wall. Think?
No wall, but he did just go spinning. I'm not really sure how. Maybe he got caught on the entry curb down the inside of 2, but I'm not really sure how that happened. It was kind of a weird spin. He kind of just didn't turn and then entered into a flat spin kind of thing. I'm not really sure what happened there, but yeah, anyways, that's probably the worst scenario for Ecos Mats, as Robertson is down and into the wall on those soft tires, which I don't think he's expecting anything really from this race, but he's, well, now that he's on the softs, he wasn't expecting much, but he's down to P13 now anyways, so Ecos Mats still leads this race, followed by Ghost UK, who's 3.2 seconds behind him. Sabino is now going to be catching rapidly up to Ghost UK, of course, 12 lap fresher hard tires to on Sabino's Alfa Romeo. He's going to be absolutely cooking, as the kids like to say nowadays, so we'll have to see what he can do.
Great analogy there, Ethan.
Yeah, thank you.
So Axel, to his credit, he's retained his pace quite easily now. Keeping that gap stable around 1.1, and maybe when they catch up to Ghost UK, then Axel has another chance. Jordan is struggling to keep by him, and Evil Dragon on those mediums is putting pressure on the Mercedes. Let's see if he can get through here, as he's taking a bit of a higher line here through turn 3. Obviously, a few lines possible there, even on the game. Getting a bit higher, a bit lower. See some difference in there as well. Steven on the back as well, looking to make a move, looking to pounce on this, as he is still on the median, all right behind, but not quite able to get a move done so far. Jordan is struggling to stick with Axel and Sabino. Axel just about missing out on DRS, I think, here. I think the same goes for Jordan. So they're going to have to do the raw pace, and Steven and Evil Dragon is going to be on the back of this Mercedes down towards turn 1 if Jordan does not get that DRS for that straight. That's going to be very important, as Evil Dragon and Steven actually make contact. I think Steven just hit the back of the McLaren, and it's going to allow Steven and the Old School as well go through. Old School and Evil Dragon. Old School going around there. Evil Dragon, I think, waiting up here. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I think he's trying to wait up for Old School here.
No, he just went into the gravel.
Old School's going again. And yeah, he's not going to be very happy with that one, I think.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird incident. Evil Dragon was kind of going slow off of the chicane, and then Old School saw an opportunity and went for it. And I just don't think Evil Dragon was prepared for Old School to send that one up the inside, and just turned in. And Old School was kind of just there in no man's land and couldn't really do anything about it. So Yeah, a weird incident there. This evil dragon went flying off into the gravel, and Old Skull went spinning into the wall on the inside there as I connect sets the fast lap of the race. Once again, down in P13 as Evil Dragon looks absolutely shaken here. He's down to P11. He's losing even more positions. He just was overtaken by Swip and Sir Ibo, which is not something I think I'd say today. But either way, Ecos Mats leads 4.4 seconds to Ghost UK. It's a perfect situation for Ecos Mats. All he needs is a safety car now, and he'll be in a very good position. Sabino's caught up to the back of Ghost. He's going to have DRS on this little lap. He does have a slight ERS disadvantage, but I don't think that'll phase him in his pursuit for P2 on track. He's going to look at the straight line speed. He's going to send one up the inside. The Alpine driver is absolutely no chance defending that as he went way too deep into turn 1. Sabino is up into P2.
Yes, being having a very good
Ooh!
race here.
Oh, that's
Looking
Red
outside,
Bull.
that's California. Don't worry. I've
I
seen him
thought it
go
was
around
Mats
few
for a
times.
second.
Wrong color car, I should say. Axel's still looking fairly consistent, but has lost touch a little bit of Sabino. And not quite able to hang on to the back of the Belgian here. Steven has managed to caught back up to Jordan as Evil Dragon has gone into the pits now. So you see, I think the medium's being strapped on, no set anyway, and front wing change, so gonna have to hope for no safety car to get back first. California letting one of the Williams drivers, I think, goes recon through there. Meantime, Matt's still going strong on those mediums. You know, if he manages to make those soft work, the pit stop time is definitely not one of the longest here. There is still a chance for him at a very good result. Definitely looking at the gap to Ghost Recon's already 17 seconds. I think it'll be around him when he pits. Yeah, I think Mats has a chance here to do quite well. How much he can gain on those mediums, on the softs at the end, which should be likely the tire where he goes on to. Be very interesting to see. Safety car would help him massively, obviously. The Steven on the back of Jordan, who's also left touch. Axel's now caught up to Ghost UK. So Swip is making a move on just into turn 1. Get himself up into P8, back up there. Robert's going around once again. California's DNF'd in the pits anyway. Unfortunate. In the meantime, we're still looking at Stepan here, the back of Jordan. Let's see if he can get himself past, and it does look like he has the pace on those mediums over him, but does make a mistake there. So a move down towards here, then towards the chicane is not going to be an option, I think. Not going to be close enough. So we see the Williams of Axel up ahead trying to catch back up to this train of Sabino and Goshike. Not quite able to manage that.
Yeah, just struggling, Esteban, does it look like. He's on those medium tires, which should be better than the hards, but just struggling to stick with Jordan, or struggling to be consistent behind or in the dirty air of the Mercedes just up in front of him. As you can see, just from the watching aboard with Esteban, that Jordan is derating as we click on board with him. He only has 7 or 8% ERS as they break into turn 1, up to 11. Didn't gain too much there through into the braking zone of turn 1, but you don't really expect to gain as a lot. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what Esteban is going to be able to do in the next coming laps. Sabino hasn't really been catching Ecos Mats. As you mentioned, he's showing good pace. Is Matt still on those 21-lap old medium tires? Of course, he pit on the first lap, so technically he doesn't have to pit again, I don't think, but I'm sure he will, considering those medium
I
tires.
think he started on mediums, so...
You think so?
It would... I'm pretty sure he started... no, he did actually start on the hards. You know what? I'll take a shout, but I don't think you have to
I don't think he can make it, yeah.
Yeah. If he does, you know what? I think we need to throw a celebration in some kind of way, because that would be insane to do. What, 35 laps on the mediums? Yep. Yeah, I don't see that happening. But if he does it, you know, congrats to him. And I think everyone there should just bow down at that point. Stepan is now on the back of Jordan, and with the superior ERS levels, I think he should be able to at least make his case for a move here. He's using his ERS down towards turn 1. Is he going to be close enough? He's looking at sending a. He sends it very deep. Still side by side for the exit of turn 1. Bit of contact wheel to wheel. It looks like they're still side by side down into turn 2. But it looks like Steven on the inside is going to get the favorable run here. On the exit of turn 3, is he going to be able to hold on? Yes, he is. And he's up into a net P3, which I would say. We'll have to see how that's going to work out towards the end of this race. If we're getting a 5 second for speeding in the pit lane. And that could be a case, if I usually pits when the tires nearly give up. He's gone to the softs now, so see where he ends up in the end. Wing change as well for the AlphaTauri. Be interesting to see when Mats is going to pit. If he's going to wait it out for a safety car, as long as he can, or if he's just going to go to the softs at some point and just try and make up as much time. Where is his decision going to lie here? Because, I criticize the strategy, but it does look like it's going to get into top 5. He's gone into the pits now. That's going to be 12 laps remaining on the soft set of tire. A bit cautious into the pits. As I see, softs is going to be hooked onto the car. So I see one of the Ferraris that eye connects to the back going around. And I think we should see Goshike going in fairly soon as well. She's waiting out a safety car potentially as well. Equals Mats coming out of the pits, still in P6. And this looks like he could be on for a good result. Minimum P5 with Goshike still to pit. And let's see how much ground he can make up. He's about 9 seconds behind his teammate. On his softs, let's see what he can do.
Yeah, he's really gonna. Well, he really needs a safety car either way. Even if it's before pit or after pit, he really just desperately needs a safety car because there's no way he's gonna be able to. Well, he should be able to get to the tires to the end of the race, but there's no way they're in a good condition by the time he
Ghost
gets up
UK.
to the drivers in front of him. And it's Ghost UK has spun around. Those hard tires have finally gone out from under him. He was still looking pretty decent, but he's broken his front wing, and he's gonna be forced into a pit stop here. I'd imagine he'd go onto the softs this late on into the race as Ecos Mats is starting to catch up to him. Maybe he'll just give Ecos Mats just a little bit of DRS onto the pit straight, and he'll be on his way. Just help him gain ever so slightly. But Sabino now leads as everybody, I think, in the lobby has made at least one mandatory pit stop. So, yeah, Sabino leads, followed by Axel and Esteban. Jordan P4, Ecos Mats P5 now that Ghost UK has gotten out of the way, and he has given Ecos Mats just a little bit of DRS as he sets the purple funnel sector there. Does Ecos Mats, but I don't think Mats is going to get anywhere past P3 probably.
I wouldn't imagine so. Yeah, if that safety car does still happen, who knows what is possible. So give a lot of grip, and if you're gonna be able to make moves, we have more yellow flags there. That is for Robert, then almost getting lapped here by Sabino. He lets him through then towards turn 10. Yeah, Sabino's still leading as another McLaren that's evil dragging him around this time once again. He's nearly getting lapped at this point. See at the front how this is going to go though. Jordan's still sticking to the back of Steban. He's going to keep an eye on that gap between Axel and Steban, see if Steban is able to gain on those mediums. But the mediums are 13 laps old, so it's not going to be the easiest thing to do. Robert is letting a few drivers by here. As that is going to benefit Steban actually. He's going to get some DRS from that. And that allows him to gain a little bit on Axel. And he's noticed that. He's using his DRS to try and drop Jordan in behind as well. And make Jordan's life even more difficult. So for Ecos Mats with the fast lap of the race, 13 flat is a very solid lap. And still has a lot of ERS as well. 6 seconds is now the gap to his teammate. I think a P4, maybe even P3 should be very much possible here. If he can keep the tire life going in that soft serve tire.
Yeah, he needs to push hard though, and it's going to be difficult for him. Of course, he does have his teammate as the first one, so once he does make that first move, he could pick up a little bit of momentum, which sounds weird to say for a Formula One race. But once you get that first overtake, you kind of just don't look back, and you start to make moves super easy. But either way, he still needs to close that 5 seconds, which he's doing very well so far. And he does have a decent amount of ERS compared to his teammate, who's on 6%, Esteban 18%, and then Axel has a lot of ERS, just around 80%. Sabino is kind of burned a little bit as he picks up, I think that was going to be a warning there, as iConnect has the fast lap of the race down in P13. He's into the, I want to say that was a 112.9 from iConnect there, so a very good lap, considering Sabino just set a 14.3. But either way, Sabino's still leading this race and looking for a debut win. It's going to be Alfa Romeo dominance here, it looks like. We missing pole poles from this race, but it looks like an Alfa Romeo is still going to win. We are on lap 28 of 36, so only 9 laps left to go. Well, just under 9 laps now, as who is that? Swip deciding to finally come into the pit lane. He'll lose 3 positions, one to Jess, one to Old School, and one to Ghost, it just looks like. But he's going to go on to a set of soft tires, and I think Swift is going to be, well, I'm sure he'll be happy with his points in this race.
Yeah, looking at 3 points still. Um, so looking if anyone else is not pitted yet. Just have to shout. I mean, just she sped in this pit lane, which seemed to be unnecessary in the safety car. Other than that, she's driven a great race and not really had any issues. And you see how it pays off. So up for potentially a 7th place, potentially 8th with that penalty. Maybe even lower down if Go Chicane and Swift managed to gain some time on her. But still, she gets herself into a position where she can score some decent points, where it doesn't look like she has to pay. So definitely a shout at her. Looking around, the gap at the front has stayed quite stable between Sabino and Axel, around that 2.93 second mark for a couple laps now. So iConnect and Evil Dragon are going side by side here, just want to shout that out. Going down towards turn 7, who's going to be the better of days? Evil Dragon just about understeering there into the side of iConnect, and that is going to be another spin for the McLaren. He's trying to get himself back on track, and now going to get lapped by Sabino, who just talking about. Steban, in the meantime, has caught up to the Greek of Axel, and you know what? Steban, on those mediums, has some very, very good pace, it has to be said. Could he be even challenging for the win? I think that's a little too late, but I think P2 is definitely up for the Ferrari here, as Axel is going to get some... No, he's not going to get any DRS. That's the thing, though. Axel does have a bit more ERS to play with, which I think it will be time to use it now. Brought the gap to Sabino a bit down now. So if Axel wants to still try and get a win here, this is the time I think to push. And yeah, try and get himself up towards it as he gets some more DRS from Evil Dragon here. He's going to carry him a bit further up towards Sabino anyway. Sabino lost straight line speed. You've seen the difference here. Pretty sure Sabino didn't have any DRS there. And still Axel barely gained. So yeah, Sabino lost straight line speed and that's it.
Yeah, we're going to have to see what Esteban is going to be able to do here, but still half a second just in behind. He's used all of his ERS already. He's using through the S's as we head through this first sector now, down in towards the middle sector here. But Axel, he's doing just enough to stay in front. As I said, that Esteban closes up 3/10 in the first sector, and he's still keeping it close as we head through the middle sector. Now those medium tires are starting to work really, really well for the Ferrari driver. Ecos Mats just in behind is caught up to Jordan here, so I'd imagine he'd be past his teammate relatively quickly or in the next lap or two, but I don't think he'll be able to catch Esteban as he's absolutely flying right now with DRS as we head into the chicane. Cuts the chicane just a little bit, or on the absolute very edge of cutting the chicane there. He's using all the track that he can and all the grip that he can right now as Axel starts to pull away just a little bit through the final sector. Esteban a little bit deep into turn 13 there. I think that's going to kill his run. I don't think he's going to have a good shot at making that overtake on this lap. He's absolutely screwed it up in the second half of that lap there. His first half of the lap was so strong. But he's just not going to be able to do anything as into turn 1. Doesn't gain too much as Ecos Mats is going to be up the inside of his teammate, and Jordan's going to be relegated down to P5 as Ecos Mats is up into P4. Just a little bit of soccer terminology. I'm very proud of myself for using that word relegated now, so thank you.
Yeah, maybe don't choose the S word though.
Soccer. Yep, there you go.
bit too American from you there. But yeah, Mats has gone into P4 now, and I'm curious how much he's got left in this. The softs don't seem too bad still. It's only 2.7 seconds. If one of those guys has a mistake or has a penalty to their name, I mean, he's still on the shot of the podium. I'm not going to roll out so far. I'm just going to keep an eye on that gap. He's already dropped Jordan. As we have some more yellow flags. That's more Evil Dragon spin around. Sabino just maintained this gap at the front. 2.5, 2.4, staying around the same. Steban not quite able to get this move done on Axel, and looks to actually be losing a little bit of time now. Maybe those mediums can finally run that course a little bit. We saw Matt still maintaining some decent pace up until lap 24. So yeah, we'll have to see if Steban is going to be able to do anything, or that if Matt is going to contend for this podium. And from the back of the grid and having lap 1 damage, that's very impressive, and that's a very good drive. He seems to be the quickest out here today. Just maybe in the dry alone, in the way he wasn't quite impressive, I can't lie. But the dry conditions seem to suit him very well currently. good strategy, and it's looking to pay off so far. And let's see how much more he can do in these final couple laps. Steven all over the back of Axel. Let's see if he can line up a move, because that's the difficult part around this track. Where are you going to put your car alongside? Turn 1 is the usual place where you do it. You can do it into the chicane, but it's a risky one. Seen that earlier a few times. You know, keep an eye on the battle between Jess Old School and GoShike as well. GoShike very much in the back of Old School here, on the soft tires, as well as I think Robertson spinning there. Still 4 points, but not a great race from the starting position he had. Mats is now in the ERS of Steban. Still have a bit of ERS remaining as well. Steven using all of these, not saving it whatsoever, so this might allow Mats to gain an opportunity and start getting at the throat of the Ferrari. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to do that.
Yeah, let's see what Mats is going to be able to do. I said that he wouldn't be able to get any higher than third, but he has the chance to get on to the second step of the podium here with only Esteban and Axel just in front of him. Esteban has already used all of his ERS. Axel has been slowly draining his battery, just trying to protect himself from the two hard-charging guys behind him, and Esteban in ECOS. Mats Jordan absolutely nowhere in this race. He's only going to be picking up an extra 10 points on his championship rival in Poldy Poles, which kind of seals the deal for Poldy Poles, if anything. The gap was 48 points going into this one. It's going to be 38 with only 3 races, including 1 sprint to go. So I'd say as long as Poldy Poles doesn't completely implode, he'll have a good shot at winning that championship. But speaking of winning, he calls Mets trying to get up the inside as the spin just turns in. Absolutely no regard for space there from Esteban there. But is he going to drop from DRS? I don't think he's just. I think he's just going to hold on to DRS there. He actually might just be out from Axel, so this could be Ecos's Matt's chance of getting into P3 here. Esteban's just going to have absolutely no shot at defending this. Ecos Mats with the DRS, with the better run off of the final corner. He's going to be up into P3 here, and now he has clean air to try and get past up or get up towards Axel. And if anything, that was the best situation for Ecos Mats there.
Definitely, yeah. However, Axel still has ERS to use, and Ecos Mats isn't just about drained nearly all of it. So he's going to have to do it on the tires, and he's going to have to do it on the grip, and let's see how he's going to be able to line up. If he gets to DRS, he has a solid chance. Otherwise, he's going to have to try it somewhere else, because on the straight line, you're not going to do it with that ERS usage. As we see GoShike and Jess going side by side down towards turn 1, and GoShike is going to get that move done. And yes, he's up into P8, maybe able to chase down Old School, we'll have to see. About 2 seconds is the gap there. Let's go back up to the 5 for P2. So Ecos Matt's not quite able to get a move down back into the chicane, but I think he's going to want to line one up for turn 1, either this lap or next lap. No regards to saving any ERS, and I don't think that's I think that's the best choice anyway. A bit of a bad exit for the Greek here of Axel, and I think Matt's is going to have a chance right here. So he has a better run here, the Mercedes. DRS open, ERS all engaged, and to the outside he's going to go. Axel not quite defending that harsh, you have to say. Is going to be able to get through? Yes, he is. Matt's great move around the outside, and he's up at the P2, and I think that's going to be all for him. 3.3 seconds to Sabino. Sabino, I'm just going to check if he doesn't have any warnings. It's not an easy place to get warnings anyway. He has 1 warning, so if he doesn't get another 2 warnings, he should be pretty safe for the win here. That's a great recovery drive from Mats, and yeah, what could have been basically.
Yeah, imagine if he just got the safety car, or even a VSC. I think he could have had a really good shot at winning this race. So I remember the last time we called Ecos Mats out on his strategy. I think he finished in second, and it looks like it's going to be doing the exact same thing here this week in Zandvoort. We're on lap 35 of 36. We're about to head on to the final lap of this race, and Ecos Mats has already dropped Axel from DRS range almost as we head into the final sector for the 35th and, the 35th time out of 36, Ecos, as just as we head into turn 13, Mats drops Axel from DRS range and closes within 3 seconds of Sabino. But, wow, what a dominant, well, I don't want to say dominant race, but it's been very good from Sabino here on his Division 4 debut in Zandvoort. Very good race from him. It looks like he's going to be winning by at least 2 seconds, which I'm sure he'd be very happy with. Ecos Mats in a very solid drive, a medium to soft strategy at Zandvoort, which is something that we never think we'd see. As Esteban has a little bit of a puncture.
Front left is punctured.
What?
Aye. I mean, he's still, if he brings it home safe, he has a 27 second gap to
Are
Ghost
you sure
Recon
your
fifth,
eyes are
but
working
now,
right? Because I'm not
yeah,
seeing a puncture.
I'm seeing a puncture here on the front left. If you go on board with him,
I am on board with
um, okay, well that's
Esteban, right?
weird. Yeah, you are seeing him drive slowly though, yeah?
Uh, yeah, but I'm very. Oh,
He's now going. Yeah, no, he definitely has a puncture on my end.
his tire looks fine, but he's driving weird. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, he definitely has a puncture. I think
Okay.
we can confirm that. But the game's just not showing it for you. Meanwhile, going up at the front, Sabino's going to cross the line to win this race by only 1.6 seconds, though. So, quite safe. Not even that. But he still won this race, 1.3 seconds ahead of Mats. Axel in P3. Very good drive from all three of them. Um, Jordan finishing in P4. Probably would have wanted more. But we'll be very glad with that puncture from Steban. Let's see. I think Steban's going to quite easily bring this home to P5 here, even with the puncture. So I guess that is somewhat good news for him that everyone else behind kind of messed up in his race. Goes Recon is going to come home in P6. Very solid drive. We have a quiet drive. Not seen too much of him, honestly, but you know he's made it work. P6, also in P7 after a few spins, a few contact moments. Could have been a bit more, maybe. Goes Shigame P8 after that little crash with Swat in P9. Jess is going to be in P10, still picking up her points. With Iconex in P11 and Robertson in P12, with Ibo and Evil Dragon being the only finishers outside the points.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really know what to say. Of course, Yukos. Yeah, I think Yukos Mets deserves to get driver of the day there. Of course, the in-game fans awarding it to him, so he must have made up the most. The most positions. Ghost Recon in the chat saying that he misses the 2020 cars. Me too. Me too. Um, but well, look. Have a final look through the final. Okay, that's crazy. I was E-Class Mats P14 to P1 and then P1 to P2. Or well, where was he? P6, I want to say. Up to
Sorry?
P6 up to P2 once again. A crazy race from there from Ecos Mats.
Yeah.
But either way, Sabino wins. Ecos Mats will finish in second. I'm sure he'll get the drive of the day nod. There from the League of Europe Twitter, Axel in P3, followed by Jordan, Esteban, and Ghost Recon in P6. Old School P7, followed by Ghost, Swip, and Jess. Iconex in P11, and Robertson will take home the last points position. Iconex picking up 3 points for getting the fastest lap, or well, 3 points total. Ibo, as you mentioned, the only driver to, Ibo and Evil Dragon, the only two drivers to finish outside of the points. California in P15. Jav, Jim, and Energex, all four of them not finishing. So, I don't think there's really any discussion for driver of the day there. I think we kind of just have to give it to Mats, and that's the end of the conversation.
I mean, I guess Sabino and Axel sort of deserve a nomination, but I think Mats, yeah, his pace with an extra stop as well. I mean, just a crazy, crazy good race. He made his moves when he needed to. Bit of a contact moment with Steban, which I don't think even was on Mats himself. A bit of a audacious move, but wasn't out of question anyway. Um, yeah, overall, just a very good race by Mats. Just a shame he couldn't capitalize on the victory here. If that quality was right, definitely would have been his. But yeah, wasn't meant to be, I guess.
Yeah, just sort of unlucky, if anything, for Ecos Mats that well, I don't want to say unlucky. You can never really pray for a safety car or pray on a safety car to help your result.
Or
But
pray for the weather.
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, either way. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it for round 14. Next week we have Saudi Arabia, for round 15, and the week after that we have Belgium for round 16, and then of course in 3 weeks' time we have the final round of the championship in Brazil, and of course the sprint race. But I'd imagine the championship will already be decided by Brazil. Well, 30-ish points. 35, 36 points on offer, so maybe not. We'll see what Jordan's able to cook up in these next two races. But I'd imagine Poldypoles being back for the last three, it will kind of just put a wrap on the championship. But either way, it was an entertaining race here in Division 4, and I don't think I have anything else other to say. What about you, Yer?
Yeah, it was a pretty entertaining race. Zandvoort being entertaining doesn't fit right in my mouth, but oh well. Better than expected, I guess. Yeah, next time I was in Jeddah, that's just earning for more chaos. So yeah, be ready to be tuned into that. And that's all for me.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you guys next week for Saudi Arabia, of course, 6:30 UK for D1 and D3, and then once again 8:10 for D2 and D4. Hopefully, me and Yor will be back here to bring or the talk our way through the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix and maybe survive in D1 as well. But